There's a white powder sitting in the back of every pool supply store, every hardware store, and every agricultural supply depot in America that kills cholera, typhoid, E. coli, hepatitis A, norovirus, rotavirus, and giardia in contaminated drinking water for less than 1 cent per gallon. It costs under $1 to treat 1,000 liters. It has been doing this job reliably since before the First World War, deployed continuously by military field units, disaster relief agencies, and municipal engineers across every inhabited continent on Earth, with a kill rate against waterborne pathogens that no home filter on the market can match, because filters do not kill anything. They catch things. Catching and killing are different operations, and the industry that has spent 60 years convincing you they are the same operation was valued at $14 billion last year. They did not bury this because it failed. They buried it because it worked so completely that it required nothing else. You cannot sell a replacement cartridge for a chemical reaction. You cannot build a subscription model around a bag of powder that treats 10,000 gallons before it runs out. You cannot charge $300 for a housing that contains a mechanism that pool supply stores sell for $4 in a Ziploc bag between the chlorine tablets and the skimmer nets. The water treatment chemical market has no loyalty program. It has no unboxing moment. It has no stainless steel countertop unit with a lifetime warranty and a filter replacement reminder email. A $14 billion home filtration industry does not survive in a world where every consumer knows that the active disinfection work costs 1 cent per gallon and fits in a pantry shelf next to the flour. The global bottled water market added another dimension to this in 2023, reaching $330 billion in annual revenue. $330 billion. In the same year, the World Health Organization reported that 2 billion people on Earth were drinking water contaminated with fecal matter. Not in remote villages, unreachable by supply chains, in cities, along roads, in communities within walking distance of stores that sell the exact powder this script is about. 2 billion people drinking contaminated water, $330 billion spent on clean water by people who already have access to it. And here is the detail embedded quietly in the WHO's own technical documentation, published in their field manuals and emergency response protocols, and almost never mentioned outside of them. Calcium hypochlorite, the white powder in the pool aisle, is the primary recommended disinfection agent for drinking water in humanitarian emergencies, military deployments, and infrastructure failures in every region of the world. It is the official answer. Almost nobody outside emergency management knows its name. That silence is not an accident. That silence is a business model. I'm not going to tell you this is a new invention. In 1854, a physician named John Snow mapped the deaths from a cholera outbreak in London's Soho district and traced every case to a single water pump on Broad Street. He didn't know what was in the water. He knew where the water came from. He had the pump handle removed. The outbreak stopped. Snow didn't have the chemistry yet. He had the epidemiology, and that was enough to prove that water could carry death, and that treating the source was the correct intervention. The chemistry arrived 54 years later. In 1908, a physician named John Lyell and an engineer named George Warren Fuller quietly added calcium hypochlorite to the reservoir, supplying Jersey City, New Jersey, the first continuous municipal water chlorination in American history. Typhoid fever death rates in Jersey City dropped by over 90% within 2 years. Not 5 years, not over a generation. 2 years. Lyell was sued for contaminating the public water supply without authorization. He won. The science won. Within 20 years, chlorination was standard municipal practice across the United States, and the CDC later designated the fluoridation and chlorination of public water as one of the 10 greatest public health achievements of the 20th century. The powder did that. And then the industry that grew up selling premium alternatives quietly moved the conversation away from it. You've seen this your whole life and just never connected the dots. You've poured bleach into a toilet bowl and watched it kill visible biological contamination in 30 seconds. That is chlorine chemistry, the same mechanism at a higher concentration, doing the same work. You've opened a public swimming pool on a summer morning where 30 children swam the previous afternoon, and the water is clear, odorless, clean, biologically safe, because calcium hypochlorite held the pathogen load to 0 overnight without filters, without UV lamps, without anything but the right concentration of the right compound. You've watched a municipal water utility add chlorine to a reservoir and deliver water to 200,000 homes that is legally and medically safe to drink straight from the tap. The utility isn't filtering at the household level. It is disinfecting at the source. The same chemistry, the same powder. The mechanism that keeps a city's water safe is the mechanism that fits in your pantry in a bag that costs $4. The thing that most people miss when they first hear this is the concentration gap. Pool water has free chlorine between 1 and 3 parts per million. Drinking water disinfected for consumption has free chlorine between 0.2 and 0.5 parts per million. The difference between a pool you can swim in and a glass of water you can drink is measured in fractions of a single drop. The chemistry is identical. The dosing is everything. Here's what you need. I want to be honest with you about every number. Calcium hypochlorite granules or powder at 68 to 78% available chlorine. This is the specific product you need. Sold as Pool Shock, granular pool chlorine, or HTH Pool Shock at every hardware store, pool supply store, Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's, and most dollar stores that carry seasonal outdoor supplies. A 1-pound bag runs between $3.50 and $5 at retail and contains enough active compound to produce a stock solution that treats approximately 10,000 gallons of water, 37,000 liters, before running out. Do not buy stabilized pool chlorine, anything labeled with cyanuric acid or listed as dichlor or trichlor. Stabilizers add a chemical you do not want in drinking water. The product you want says calcium hypochlorite, 68% or higher, unstabilized. The bag will typically say Pool Shock or Super Shock. The label will be white or yellow. It will cost under $5. One small clean glass jar with a tight lid for mixing your stock solution, a mason jar, a clean jam jar, any glass with a lid, a clean measuring spoon, 1/4 teaspoon capacity, a clean dropper or syringe graduated in milliliters, available at any pharmacy in the baby medicine section for under $2, or a standard eyedropper, clean containers for the water you're treating, anything that holds liquid and has a lid. That's genuinely it. Here's the one thing most people get wrong. They treat calcium hypochlorite like bleach, meaning they pour directly from the bag into the water, guess at the amount, and either underdose, producing water that still contains live pathogens, or overdose, producing water with a chlorine taste so aggressive it's undrinkable. The failure looks the same both ways. Water you either don't trust or can't stomach. Both failures come from the same cause. They skip the stock solution step. Every military field manual, every WHO emergency protocol, every Red Cross water treatment guide written in the last 100 years solves this problem the same way, with a 2-stage dilution system that takes the guesswork out of dosing entirely and makes it repeatable by anyone, every time, at any scale. When it works correctly, the treated water is visually clear, biologically safe, and has a faint chlorine smell that dissipates within 30 minutes of exposure to open air. That faint smell is not contamination. That smell is your confirmation that the chemistry is still active. Municipal water smells that way. It is safe. If the smell is absent entirely after treatment, the dose was insufficient. If the smell is present after 30 minutes of open air exposure, the dose was too high. The faint smell in a freshly treated closed container gone after 30 minutes of air exposure, that is the target. Begin by making your stock solution. This step takes 90 seconds, and you only need to do it once per batch of granules. Put on gloves if your hands are sensitive to chlorine compounds. This is not optional for people with skin sensitivity, and it is a smart habit for everyone. Measure 1/4 teaspoon of calcium hypochlorite granules and dissolve them in 2 liters of clean water inside your glass jar. Stir for 30 seconds until fully dissolved. The water will turn very faintly cloudy and then clear. This stock solution is now approximately 500 parts per million of free chlorine. Label the jar, store it out of direct sunlight in a cool place. Do not seal it in an airtight container for extended storage. The off-gassing chlorine will build pressure. A loosely fitted lid, or a lid with a small gap, is correct. This stock solution remains potent for 3 to 5 days. This stock solution is what you use for all your treating. You do not touch the granules again until the stock solution runs out. To disinfect 1 liter of clear water, add 1 milliliter of stock solution, roughly 20 drops from a standard eyedropper or 1 full squeeze of a standard medicine dropper. Stir, put the lid on. Wait 30 minutes. The 30-minute contact time is not optional and is not conservative. It is the minimum time the WHO field protocol requires to achieve a 99.9% kill rate against bacteria and most viruses in clear water. Do not shorten it. Set a timer and walk away. If the source water is visibly turbid, meaning cloudy, murky, brown, carrying visible suspended particles, double the dose to 2 milliliters per liter and double the contact time to 60 minutes. Turbid water consumes chlorine rapidly because organic matter reacts with free chlorine and depletes it before it can reach pathogens. If you have any mechanical filtration available, the bottle gravity filter, a cloth, even a clean sock, pre-filter the water to remove as much turbidity as possible before dosing. Every unit of turbidity you remove before dosing extends the reach of every drop of stock solution and increases the kill reliability. After the contact time, remove the lid from the treated container and let it sit open for 30 minutes. A gentle stir halfway through speeds the process. The free chlorine dissipates into the air as gas. The water is left biologically inert and chemically neutral. Taste it. It should be clean, flat, and odorless. If you detect a faint lingering chemical note, give it another 15 minutes of open air. If you want to speed the process on a day when time matters, pour the treated water back and forth between two containers from a height of 30 centimeters 4 or 5 times. The aeration drops residual chlorine out of solution in under 5 minutes. Test it with a pool test strip if you want a number. They cost $3 for 100 strips at any pool supply store. After aeration, the free chlorine reading should be at or near 0. That is your target. The pathogens are gone. The chlorine is gone. What remains is water. For long-term storage, containers sealed for emergency preparedness, leave a small residual of treated, non-aerated water in the container before sealing. The slight residual free chlorine, around 0.2 parts per million, prevents bacterial recolonization during storage for up to 6 months. This is what municipal water utilities do. They dose your tap water to a residual that holds through the pipes and into your glass. The chemistry that keeps a city's water safe in transit to 200,000 homes is the same chemistry protecting your sealed emergency container in the basement. Scale this forward. One person needs 3 liters of drinking and cooking water per day. At 1 milliliter of stock solution per liter of clear water, that is 3 milliliters of stock solution per day per person. Your 2-liter jar of stock solution contains 2,000 milliliters. 1 jar of stock solution treats one person's water supply for 666 days, almost 2 years. That jar was made from 1/4 teaspoon of granules. Your $4 bag of pool shock contains approximately 450 teaspoons. Divided into 1/4 teaspoon increments, that is 1,800 batches of stock solution. 1,800 jars, each treating one person's water for nearly 2 years. The math wants you to sit with it for a moment. 1 $4 bag of calcium hypochlorite treats one person's drinking water for over 3,000 years. That is not a typo. The granules are a concentrated active compound that regenerates stock solution faster than any single individual can consume it. At family scale, the numbers compress but remain staggering. A family of 4 needs 12 liters per day. At 3 milliliters of stock solution per day, the family uses approximately 1 jar of stock solution per 6.5 months. The $4 bag makes 1,800 jars. The math is almost offensive in what it implies about what you have been paying. Scale further. A neighborhood of 40 households, 160 people, 480 liters of water per day. At 1 milliliter per liter, that is 480 milliliters of stock solution daily, roughly 1 full jar per 4 days. The $4 bag makes 1,800 jars. At 4 days per jar, the neighborhood's water disinfection supply runs for over 19 years on one purchase. 40 households, then 19 years, $4. No bills, no infrastructure, no asking anyone's permission. This method is not a complete water treatment solution in all conditions. Calcium hypochlorite is highly effective against bacteria, E. coli, Salmonella, Vibrio cholerae, Shigella, Legionella, and against most viruses including hepatitis A, norovirus, rotavirus, and poliovirus at standard doses and contact times. It performs adequately against Giardia cysts at the double dose and extended contact time recommended for turbid water. It does not reliably disinfect Cryptosporidium parvum oocysts at any practical concentration. Cryptosporidium is exceptionally chlorine resistant, and the doses required to kill it would make the water undrinkable. In regions with documented Cryptosporidium contamination, particularly areas with high cattle or agricultural runoff into surface water sources, either boil the water first or combine this method with mechanical filtration using the activated carbon bottle filter described separately. The combination handles everything chlorine alone cannot. Additionally, this method does not remove dissolved chemical contamination, heavy metals, nitrates, or agricultural runoff. It is a disinfection tool, not a purification tool. It kills biology. It does not extract chemistry. Know the distinction. Know where the tool ends and the next tool begins. A method that is honest about its limits earns trust in everything it claims within them. The reservoirs of Jersey City, New Jersey, are still chlorinated. The Broad Street pump that John Snow had disabled in 1854 has a memorial plaque on it now, on Broadwick Street in London, Soho, because the city that built it understood eventually what he had proved there. The military field units that carried calcium hypochlorite in the First World War, who provided clean water to field hospitals, while cholera swept through the surrounding populations, with open access to the same rivers, understood something that the men dying knew nothing about. The Red Cross emergency workers who flew into Haiti after the 2010 earthquake with bags of pool shock and treated the water supply of displaced camps containing hundreds of thousands of people understood it. The WHO field workers in South Sudan, in the Sahel, in the floodplains of Bangladesh, who still deploy this method as their first and most reliable intervention, understand it now. The pump did this, the reservoir did this, the field unit's bag did this, yours will too. The chemistry was always there, in a white granule, in a concentration ratio measured in fractions of a milliliter, in the 30-minute window where a simple reaction makes water safe to drink and costs less per liter than the paper this script was written on. I don't know what brought you here. It doesn't matter. It works either way.